Good evening, Facebook family and friends. We are back tonight as we continue to learn about our God and his attributes that we might live. So, we are talking about Jehovah Gibbor Melchimar, which is the Lord is mighty in battle. And we will be reading one of my favorite Psalms, Psalm 24. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. For he has founded it upon the seas, and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord, or who shall stand in his holy place? He that has clean hands and a pure heart, who has not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully, he shall receive the blessing from the Lord and righteousness from the God of his salvation. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek thy face, O Jacob, Selah. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is the King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. And this is the attribute Jehovah Gibbor Melchimar, the Lord mighty in battle. And so I know you are asking tonight, why did King David write Psalm 24? And the reason for this psalm is that the Ark of the Covenant of God was returning back to Israel after 20 years of being away. How about that? We find the story actually unfolding in 1 Samuel chapter 5. The Israelites are now going into battle with the Philistines. And Israel had this thought process as long as they had the Ark of the Covenant of God with them, that they would be victorious in all battles. My goodness. The Ark of the Covenant was a golden box, and inside the box was the tablets or the Ten Commandments that was written by Moses but inspired by God. And on top of the golden box, there was the cherubims, and in the midst of the cherubims was the mercy seat, and on the mercy seat is where the presence of God would abide. And so, yes, Israel thought as long as we carry the Ark of the Covenant of God with us, we will be victorious. But we find that the Philistines actually defeated Israel. And so it's like Israel said, well, that can't be right. So we're going to go back into battle. And this time we're definitely going to have the Ark of the Covenant with us. And so again, they lost to the Philistines. And then this time the Philistines, they take the Ark of the Covenant with them. And they send it to their city, Ashdod. And they put it inside their temple where their god, Dagon, it was Dagon's temple. And so they put the Ark of the Covenant inside the temple with Dagon. And so the next morning, the Philistines go in and they see that Dagon is falling flat on his face as if he was bowing down, worshiping our God. And so they picked Dagon up and, they brushed him off and they put him back in his spot, right? Y'all heard that. They picked up their God from off of the floor. Yes, they picked him up and they brushed him off and, you know. So the next morning they come back again, yes, and Dagon is in the floor again. But this time he has his head cut off and his neck cut off, and his arms was cut off, and so the only thing that was remaining was his torso. And so the people of Ashdod, they started getting sick and breaking out with bulls and stuff. So they sent it to another of the Philistine cities, which I believe was Ekron. And so when the Ark of the Covenant gets there, the people too started getting tumors and sores and stuff all over their body. And they was like, the Ark of the Covenant got to go. And so they sent it again to another one of their cities, which was called Gath, Gath. And so the people started crying out, "What did you do? You sent the Ark of the Covenant here so that we might die?" And so they said, no, we don't want the Ark of the Covenant of Jehovah in the midst of us. Send it back, send it away. And so in the process, they too started getting boils and sores and dying because they were just, people that did not really believe or worship God. And so they got together and they sent the Ark of the Covenant back to vicinity of the Israelites. Yes. And so um, it was still in the possession of Israelite, but it was not in per se the presence of King Saul, nor was it had been in the presence of David, because now David is king. So David is in his kingmanship at least 7 years by now. He's like, let us get together and let us go and bring the Ark of the Covenant. He's like, I've made houses for myself, and I've made a tent that the Ark of the Covenant of God might be placed in the tent. And so they too go and get the Ark of the Covenant. But David had given specific instructions to the priest on how they were to carry the Ark of the Covenant. And we are even told that it was being mishandled a little bit. So one of the priests, he started to stumble and he reached out to grab the Ark of the Covenant. And we are told that really the priest died, because you were not to touch the Ark of the Covenant. It was holy. You can't touch a holy God. And so, with that being said, they finally did, get the Ark of the Covenant back into the tent where David had made a residency for the Ark of the Covenant. Because we know David's heart really, he wanted to build a temple for the Ark of the Covenant. But because David was a man of war, God did not allow David to build his temple. And so, therefore, David was elated just to bring back or to have in his possession the Ark of the Covenant. And this is why Psalm 24 was written. The people were excited because finally the presence of God was back in their midst. They had repented of their sins, and it was a happy time. The Bible even tells us that they brought out hornets and trumpets and cymbals, and they were singing and they were praising. And we even get into the part where David, he danced so hard that he danced out of his clothes, because the Lord, our God, Jehovah Gibbor, and we know that he's mighty in battle, that he will never leave you, he will never forsake you. But we must understand that God wants us to live a holy life, and we can live a holy life. And the reason why we can live a holy life, or a life that is acceptable unto God, is because no longer does the presence of God rest on a golden box. But now the presence of God rests, rule, and abide in jars of clay. How about that? How is that possible? Because God had taken a piece of himself, his son, Jehovah, had taken a piece of himself as the person of Jesus Christ. Yes, who came down from a spiritual realm and was birthed into the natural realm. And just to hang and to bleed and to die on Calvary's cross so that we might be reconciled unto him, that our God, Jehovah Gibbor, has now placed death under his feet, and we are reconciled back to Christ, and we can live life, and we can live life more abundantly, knowing that if we honor God and recognize him in all of our ways, surely he will direct our path. So, who is the Lord? He is the Lord, strong and mighty. He is our God who is mighty in battle. And good night. And we will meet again as we continue to learn more about our God Jehovah and his attributes, and study his word together. And why are we doing this? That we might live. God bless you and good night.